Welcome to the Portland Film Festival, presented for the 4th consecutive year by Comcast. I just want to thank Comcast team for their tremendous support of independent filmmakers and making a space and a platform for diverse voices to reach the world. I also want to thank Corner Camera, Portland Mortgage, and Oregon Film for supporting us. If you would like to buy tickets, please head over to PDXFF21 and you can watch all the movies we have available right now. I have with us the crew from Americanish. Welcome. I'm Candace McDowell with the Portland Film Festival. And I want to introduce to you, we have our writers, our directors, our producers, right? Okay, we have producer Roy Wall, producer Paul Seetachitt. We have writer Aizzah Fatima, correct? Yes. And Iman Zawahry. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
We would love to hear how this film came together. Is there a story behind the script, behind the story you chose?
So yes, there is a story. I was in New York for my birthday trip, and I was walking by the famous Cherry Lane Theater, and I saw a poster that had Dirty Packing Lingerie, which was a play, a one-woman show. And my cousin was like, "We have to see this. This is perfect for you, man." I'm like, "All right." So we go in, we see it, and I laugh, I cry, I like hoot and holler. It was like the most amazing show I ever saw, and I saw, myself portrayed on stage. So afterwards, I introduced myself to the fantastic actress and creator Aizzah Fatima, and I was like, "Hey, you want to make a movie?" And she's like, "Let's do it." And then 8 years later, here we are. So the characters are based off of Aizzah Fatima's one-woman show. We took 4 of those characters and we made it into the film.
I love that. So how did your crew come together? How did you all find each other?
Yeah, you guys can go through. Paul, you want to?
Tinder.
Sure.
We found each other on Tinder.
No, it was Craigslist. It was Craigslist.
That's where all great relationships start. In case you were wondering, look at us.
That's right. Like Iman and Aizzah, Iman being who she is, just randomly approached Aizzah. Goes, "Oh my God, it's so amazing! We gotta make a movie." Is that a good impression? Is that good? Anyway,
great.
And they did. And later in the process, Iman reached out to me. We went to film school together, and so and we've been collaborators for 15 years now or something like that. And so she goes like, "You gotta watch the play. It's in LA." And so yep. And then I go like, "Oh, it's absolutely great. We should do this." And then we just start chugging along. And I think during production we brought on Roy, who goes, "Okay, let me show you how to do this right now." And
oh yeah, go ahead, Paul.
No, that's about it. I mean, that's how we kind of the gang got together. I in the most abridged form of it,
Well, Roy, you can talk about how you joined. Yeah.
It's exactly what Paul said. So they were already working on the film for some time, and they were in production. I think funds were ran out, and a couple of things have happened. I'm based out of New York City, so is Aizzah. Iman is out of Florida, and Paul is in LA. So, I was in New York. I met through a friend, Aizzah, Iman, and Paul, and I would say right place, right time, lucky. And our relationship grew into something much larger than originally anticipated, at least I think for me and the rest of the team. And then I've been involved in the project for a little over 3 years now, I think, maybe 3.5 years. We've been in post for a really long time, partly because of the pandemic, partly because we were working on the edit. We did a lot of reshoots, and here we are running in our festival circuit. So yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you for all being here. It's fun to have so much of the leadership here. I personally loved the movie. The comedy was amazing. I would love to hear any stories you have about your comedy on set, how that came about. Was it a lot of it improv? Was it scripted? Are you naturally so funny?
Can't you tell? Aizzah, you want to talk about it?
My gosh, where do I begin? So honestly, guys, you know, the comedy is very hard to do. Seriously, it's very, very hard to do. So we really, what you see is great. It's on the screen. It made it on the screen, but it's been a real struggle. Let's also be honest about it, right? Like finding that right mix. And I think like Iman and I come from like sort of very different. Like I think my comedy is more grounded, Iman's more slapsticky. So it's like marriage of those two things is what you see on the screen. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I've had to kill a lot of babies in the process. Okay. So a lot of the jokes honestly come from my one-woman show that I've been doing on stage for like 10 years now, Dirty Packy Lingerie. And those jokes kind of land for a very international audience. They've always worked. But then it's like when I try to stick them into the film, a lot of them didn't work for whatever reason. Because again, comedy is freaking hard, you know, and it's just me, one person on stage doing all of it. So now to have all these other actors come in with a director and a whole team, like sometimes it's a struggle, right? So it's like you have to find the right everything. And sometimes it doesn't happen because you have like 10 minutes to take this one shot, you know, and like land everything. So, I mean, Iman and all of us have done like it's been tough, but we've done a great job. But also we had to kill a lot of jokes because they weren't landing and they weren't working. So I'm really proud of the work we have done because I know that this resonates with people. But I have to tell you guys, I mean, it wasn't easy, right? Iman, would you say this, like getting to this point in the script and where we are now, it was a struggle. Like we all had to, and I think if it wasn't for this team that you see here, plus like our editors who worked on it with us, like it wouldn't be the film it is. Not any one of us here could have made the film you're seeing right now. It's because of all of us were involved that you're able to see the film that it is.
Mm.
Yes, for sure. I mean, and also just to go off of I was just talking about the script writing process and the editing process, but like for sure, like directing with the actors, what I was very like amazed with is the actors really did bring that comedy, you know, like the naivete of Ameera, you know, like that sweetness that we see of her and her character and how she kind of plays that joke, and the comedy of Godfrey, who's a comedian, like really lands it. So it's really the actors kind of like really bringing it to screen. And, you know, if there's some different beats in the way that we edited it and the way that I directed them, the way it landed, it all kind of came together in terms of like making sure that comedy really landed. And to me, comedy is all about reactions. And so making sure we have the proper reaction shots and making sure the proper reactions, like, you know, when Ameera comes and says, I want to marry a Pakistani American Muslim doctor, you don't really laugh until you see the TSA agent's face, right? Like, and how she's like, what? You know, so it's kind of going off of that I think is really important. And I'm just like, because like Aizzah was saying, we have been looking at this for 3 years and we're like, this isn't funny. We're like, we don't think this is that funny. And so the fact that we hear laughs, we're like, wait a second, what? Every joke that we have in there is funny now. So it's great. We're happy with it. So
Personally, I'll just jump in quickly. Honestly, Aizzah, Iman, and Paul, they're all three very funny. So that makes a big difference, honestly. And
you
when
too,
I was
Roy,
on
you're very funny too. Give yourself some credit.
a little weird.
Look at that mustache, man.
He's a
Come on.
No, but it's true. It's true. Just on set, being like, I was so inspired. Personally, I needed fun and humor in my life at that time, and I loved being a part of that set. I really did. And it's the actors, it's the writing, but it's these people here. So they're so funny.
we're having a love fest right now.
That's
right.
Wait, the jokes are coming.
That's right. But actually, like, you know, on my perspective is slightly different. Like, you know, I look at it and like, it was a hard set. It was a hard set. And, you know, for everyone, for actors, for directors, producers, everyone and the thing that united us was that we could laugh at this. Like everyone had the belief in that this was going to be a good movie. Everyone believed in the cause of the movie. And when you have that, like that compass, like, you know, when you're confronted with like snow and you know, and just like eventually just like running out of money, like you just have to laugh about it. And I think we were able to capture that on screen. Like, you know, everyone really brought in like their kind of like, oh, but what else can we do kind of attitude, and except for just laugh about it. And I think that became infectious. Like everyone came together, like not just the four of us, but like the whole crew came together in a way that was very, you know, that I don't want to say it this way because I don't know every single hard situation, but like in the film situation, like when everyone rallies, it's just a magical thing. And I think everyone really rallied for our movie. And I think, you know, and I think that it's on the screen.
And the reason why it was a tough set is because we made a low budget film in New York City. So we were trying to make everything happen, you know, and it was a big concept film. So, you know, that's independent filmmaking. It's all about the passion.
Yes. So my favorite scene was the engagement scene. There was so much happening in that room. Can you talk about that process? Was that one of your more difficult scenes? There just seems there was there was costume, it was beautiful. Can you talk about that?
100%. That is also one of my favorite scenes, and I do talk about this a lot in Q&As and film festivals. So Aizzah wrote a beautiful scene, and I remember we were going back and forth about the scene, and I was like, we need to write something different, like blah, blah, blah. And so Aizzah just spent you spent like a week or something or a night, and she sent me just the scene, and I was like my mouth dropped. I was like, this is
Iman said, can you make the whole film like that? That's what she said to me. Like, Aizzah, this is a fantastic scene. Write the whole film like that. I was like, what? Like,
I mean, it
I
was
don't know
just
how to do that.
I was like, it was like one of the best scenes I've ever read. And I was like, man, I'm in everything. It was so visually written. It was so well written. And I was like really concerned. I'm like, am I going to be able to bring this to screen the way it's on the page? And that was such a hard day because it was our biggest day. We were in a small house in the suburbs of New York. I mean, it wasn't small, it's big, but it was like smaller in terms of small rooms. And we had 80 people there. And I'm so happy and honored to work with Kapil and Selena, who were playing Maryam and Shahid at the time. I was like, listen, guys, there is so much happening around us, but we have to stay focused here. And they did. They stayed so much into each other and into the scene and stayed focused with me. And that's why the scene works so well. Like the chaos that was happening all around, you know, kind of coming through, they were able to stay focused in that scene. And we made sure that we kind of pulled things through. And I told my script supervisor, I'm like, this is going to be extremely difficult to keep all of this going continuity wise and to keep everything going back and forth. And when I spoke to her in advance, I made sure that she kept it through. And my DP as well is like, we have to make sure that we get every single little reaction and make sure that it flows. So me and my editor, we spent a whole 13 hours on this scene. And this was the one scene that stayed exactly the same for my director's cut. And I'm so honored by that because I'm so happy with, like, anytime anybody would touch it, I'm like, what are you guys doing? But what's happening here? This is perfect. So let's leave it. So, you know, bringing that through. And I'm just so honored. Thank you so much, Candace, for saying that it came through because it was a really big moment. It was a really big day. It was a great scene. It's one of my favorites. And it really kind of pulls through. So I really appreciate that.
Iman will Venmo you later, so don't worry about it, Candace. Thank you.
No, and the acting, not only in that scene, but all of it was incredible. My heart sunk in that engagement scene. And they're having that quiet conversation and everything's happening around them. So how was your casting process? The acting was incredible. The sisterhood looked so natural. Can you tell us about how you chose who you chose?
Sure. I mean, I want to talk so much. Aizzah can speak about this too. Our amazing casting directors, Mia and Megan. Mia Kusaman or Megan Rafferty were our casting directors, and they were so fantastic. Aizzah and I, since we've been on this journey for 8 years, we've been throwing out names all the time, like who we kind of wanted, what we were going to do. And we had a whole day of auditions. How many people did we see that day, Aizzah?
There were 100 people on that roster, man. We saw like 98. I have that roster.
Man.
So we definitely saw 100 people. Plus, there were like tapes that were mailed to us, another dozen or so people who mailed in tapes and stuff. And then, yeah.
And it was such a fun day. I remember having such a fun day. And it's what happened is Selena came in, who plays Maryam, and she actually auditioned for the role of Maya, which is Shahid's girlfriend. And she came in, and I was like, I don't see this, but can she play audition for Maryam? And I was like, I want you to do, you know, like awkward college student. She goes, I got you. And she did. Because she thinks she's awkward in real life. She always says that, but I don't see that, but she nailed it. And I always feel like she's like our breakout actor, like the young kid that comes up. Like Selena did such a fantastic job that kind of came through. And then Lilette Dubé, Aizzah, you want to talk about it? You talk more, yeah.
No, I mean, Lilette Dubé and Shanaz Treasury both are just like, Lilette is like a legend in Bollywood. I've grown up watching her in all the films. I grew up on Bollywood really big time. And so she was always like the mom or like the hot mom or whatever, because she's so hot, like, from Monsoon Wedding days to present time. And so, yeah, it was just such a dream working with her. She was just amazing to work with, every scene. And I feel like that's part of like the chaos of our set. Like that, yes, the sets were crazy. And we were like, it was a tough film to make because we were trying to make it for no money, really, independent filmmaking and all of that. But like at the end of the day, I feel like the actors really were like there for, especially like took care of me, because I was, we were sometimes rewriting scenes and I was sometimes helping find locations on the day of or the night before, and then I had to be in those scenes. And so I feel like the people, like, all of them, all the people I was in scenes with, like from Mo to Lilette, to Selena, to David Rashi, like everyone just really was there, like taking care of me all the time. They were just like, make sure Aizzah has a piece of lint. Let's fix it. Stop the camera. Like, it was just amazing. And Lilette was like just a dream to work with. Yeah. And then of course Shanaz also was recommended by our casting directors, and I had known her and knew of her work because she was in New York for like 7 years. At the time, we had a lot of friends in common, and I knew like this was in her wheelhouse. Like, she is Ameera, really. And when we met her, it became even more clear. We had a Zoom call with her, and it was just perfect. And I think, again, like a lot of the credit goes back to like Megan and Mia for just finding this amazing cast. And a lot of the smaller kind of roles in Americanish are filled out by my actor friends from New York, just people I've known and admired for years. You may not know their names, but they're amazing actors, and you can see that, that they are amazing, because all those little small parts are just so well done. And that just, speaks to like, yeah, I mean, the work Iman did, and plus the actors that we were able to get. It's really amazing.
Would you like to share anything about your, as producers, your production time together? I know you shared that it was really challenging with budget. And is there anything else that you want to share that could potentially help other filmmakers? There's a lot of filmmakers, independent filmmakers watching, just starting out. Do you have advice for them based on your experience?
Sure. My first, I'm sorry, Aizzah,
please go right ahead.
Oh, for anyone out there who is thinking about making a film, and don't just quit while you're ahead. You're going to save yourself so much energy. But if you must make a film, then then do it with all your heart, and like put in that passion, like because that's especially if you either have money or you have passion, and money will get you down so far, passion will get you down so far, and if one is less than the other, you need to supplement it with the other. Like the engagement scene would be a sheer example of that. So here's a man directing, and her most favorite scene in the script, Aizzah, and you tell me if I'm mistaken, but isn't that the day that we got told that we're out of money? But it wouldn't
have been different. That was the day we shot the wedding scene.
But wouldn't it have been a better story? It would have been a better story if it was.
Sorry, Paul, to burst your bubble. But no, there were those moments when we were like filming the wedding scene, and we were told we were out of money, and we still had like another 6 days of filming left, and we were over budget at that point. So yeah, so there were these little surprises that came along the way, and it was like easy to kind of throw in the towel. But I think we were able to kind of push through it because of everybody that was kind of our part of our support network, for these guys, Roy, Paul, Iman, Chloe Weaver, who's our DP, who was just amazing, showed up every day and was like, let's make a film, ladies. And we were like, we're exhausted. She's like, let's make a film. We're like, okay.
You go, man, you go.
I was gonna say, off of this, it's such a really good point. And we're hearing it a lot more now. We just heard it from a really high executive producer about resilience. People are telling us all, like, we have been really resilient and have perseverance. And it's true. We spent 8 years on this film because of our passion. And there was a question that was given to us at one of the panels, is like, when do you throw in the towel? And I said, never. Like, you only throw in the towel if you don't have the passion for it. If this film doesn't speak to you and you don't have, your voice is not going through it, then you throw in the towel. But you don't throw in the towel if this is the film that you want to tell. We know that this is a poignant piece. It's the first American Muslim rom-com made by a diverse American Muslim woman about American Muslim women. And this is a story that we have to tell. And every year I'd say, Aizzah, we're on year 5 now. Aizzah, we're on year 7 now. And then Roy would go, Iman, just one more year. What, you're 7 in, who cares about one more? I'm like, I guess, Roy, I guess,
Literally, and I have to give credit to Roy here too, because I think we tried to put this film out into the world a couple of years ago, and Roy was like, "No, ladies, no, it's not ready. Let's keep editing."
He's
So
right, and
here
he
we
was
are.
so right. Yeah.
And and we're so lucky that we had that voice in the room, because we were kind of ready to throw in the towel at one point. And I think the film was in a very different place 2 years ago than it is today. So yeah. So again, it's the whole team that makes it happen, and a great therapist.
And so right before you jump in, Roy, just to say that, it is 100% natural for you to want to give up when you're making an independent film. I think every one of us had that moment where we're done. And it's really important to make sure that your team doesn't give up at the same time. Someone needs to be able to go just a little bit further, guys, and it'll fluctuate. Not one of us is so amazing that we could just have seen it through to its completion right now. It really requires you to really have the faith and have a team that wants to do the same mission. And I think we're very fortunate that we were able to get this magical combination of people, because like Aizzah said, not one of us could do this on our own.
Exactly. And I agree with everybody. I just wanted to add, I think find your tribe. That's for sure. Find your people. That's another thing, because any film, the real currency of a film are the people behind it. And a film comes, and then the next film comes after that. So, and there will be so much more that Aizzah will make, so much more that Iman will make. And this is just the beginning, and Paul too. And find your people and nurture that. And it's a relationship. It's it's a marriage. I think I'm the only one who's still single and not married, but this is my kind of wedding, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, really? You're married to all of us.
No. Roy, you can do better. You could do better.
Oh, damn. Yes, yeah. Thank you, Candace.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we have your advice for the filmmakers, is there anything that you want the audience to hear? Is there anything you're hoping that they will catch from the film, that they'll discover and watching it, something that was on your heart, that was your passion, that you're hoping the world will see when they watch your film?
Yeah, our biggest thing that Aizzah and I always say is that, the point of this film is to show that Muslim women are not a monolith, that we have agency of our own lives, and we are not in the narrative of being timid, shy, oppressed. It's not who we are, and we are American. That's the biggest part of it, is that this is an American Muslim story. And when people see Muslim, they usually think foreign, and that's not the case. And so we're really working hard to change that. And so that's what I would really love for people to take away of this film. And of course, sweet, funny love story, just to kind of feel good at the end. So, yeah.
I really enjoyed the little bit of a challenge to the perception of America, or the American dream. You mentioned the airport scene where she comes and she tells the TSA agent why she's there. I laughed at that. We all laughed at that because of this illusion of how easy it is. You have all talked about achieving your dream and it taking 8 years. Is that what you said? 8 years?
Yeah.
So I loved that you had those themes in there of, what's put out there by Hollywood or whoever of what America is. You really challenged some of those ideas, and it felt true and real and down to earth. And I loved it. And I loved the look into New York City and our culture there. It's been a while since I've seen a good New York City culture movie. Yeah. So I personally really enjoyed it. Loved it. It's one of the best that I've laughed. I loved it. I like the feel good movies. So is there anything else that you all want to share personally from your experience? I know we're sharing a lot here. We could talk about the script. Did you stay on script most of the time, or did you find that you would change it, especially with the comedy?
We stayed on script most of the time. I let the actors play around if they wanted to by improvising certain things. Godfrey improv'd a lot of things that did make it into the cut, but we stayed on script most of the time. And what we did do is we edited a lot of stuff out of the script in the edit. So there's pages and pages that are not in the film to kind of keep the comedy moving. So what's hard about an ensemble piece is that you have 3 different storylines and you think you edited a scene and the scene is perfect, then you put the scene in with the rest of the movie and it's like, what is happening here? The pace is all off. So, I mean, I can't even tell you, I think my daughter had asked me like, how many times do you think you watched this movie? And I was trying, because I would say I watched like 1,000 times, but I realistically think I did watch it probably 400 to 500 times, because I would edit a scene and I would watch the entire movie again. And I would edit a scene because I would have to see how the pace flowed. So yeah, I mean, that was part of the process.
Yeah. So I'm hearing do the work on the front end, the back end, the whole process. Don't give up, right? That's kind of the theme here. Don't give up, do the work, make sure you're proud of it.
I think this is also for first time like feature filmmakers, right? Because I think the second round, it would get a lot easier because you learn a lot in the process of making the first feature film. And so, yeah, the second round, the front end and the back end, the work will be like condensed. I'm hoping, fingers crossed.
I know we don't know yet, but I will say,
yeah, we haven't made our second, but yeah, the first one. We definitely learn a lot in the process, you know. Also, again, like there were definitely like the reason the edit took so long was because as first time filmmakers, an ensemble piece is a really hard thing to make. So don't make an ensemble piece for your first thing. Tell one linear story as your first thing with one character with one goal, because what we did was freaking 4 characters with 4 different goals and everybody's going after them. Makes it very difficult. So I think if you were to just like kind of make things easy for yourself, yeah, it would go a long way. And that's why it took us so long to edit, because we were trying to find that right balance of all the storylines kind of coming together, because like in the script writing process, it was kind of like too much. And that's why we were like editing things out. Sometimes we had to edit a lot of lines out because it was like scenes were overwritten and we were like, we don't need this. We can show this visually. So let's cut some of these lines out. A lot of that work that I think, again, next time around, it would be a lot smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean you all are going to work on another project together?
Americanish too.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping for.
Well, you know, I have a pitch for Americanish too, but like, you know, no one likes it because I would make it dark comedy where, you know, where
and it's Paul's story. It's all about Paul.
Well, yeah, like enter, like, you know, producer, like, you know, no, like basically Miriam like is a successful doctor, and one day she walks like to like, I don't know, like the Apple store, and there's Shahid
Paul.
with a baby.
We should move on to the next question.
I know. Yes.
It's such a good. It's
yes.
so good. It's so good. But
we
like,
take your word for it, Paul.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
All right.
So have you entered into other film festivals? How has that process gone? Has it been successful for you?
Yeah, so we premiered at CamFest in May, and then since then we have 27 festivals, and from now until mid-November we have about 15. I mean, 3 have already happened, so we have 15 in a month that's happening. So we've been really surprised about how well the film has been received. We won 3 audience awards, and we won a really big award that we're not able to announce yet. And so it's been a really great run so far. So, you know, we're just hoping for that distribution, waiting for that to happen as well. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us in our
Oh, sorry about that.
Course.
I was just gonna add actually such different types of festivals too. You know, we've actually did the regional fest, we did the American Asian Fest, we just recently did our first South Asian Fest, right? So we're really addressing many different types of festivals.
Urban World. Yeah.
Urban World in New York City.
I think that also speaks to like who the film resonates with, because it resonates with very diverse audiences. Like the Urban World audience just this last Friday it was a New York audience. It was Black, white, Hispanic, Muslims, South Asians, Arabs, like everyone, you know? So yeah, so it's been really, and then the South Asian specific festivals, of course, is primarily all South Asian audiences. So it's been kind of really fun to see that too. And I would just say like we have 17 more festivals coming up, so between now and December, so you can follow us on Americanish Film on all of the social medias, and also americanishfilm.com to see, because we're not allowed to announce all 17 of them, so we're just as the dates are coming up, we're announcing those. So if you want to catch it in your city, definitely do that.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your film with us and our festival. I just want to remind the audience too that this is a competition film. So after you see the film, please vote if you would like to choose Americanish as the winner in this festival. We also have a virtual festival lobby where filmmakers and attendees can interact. I'm not sure if any of you will be joining in the virtual lobby, but that will also be a place for you to exchange ideas and talk further about the film if you're interested.
Thank you.
Great.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us this festival. We're super honored. And thank you so much for this great Q&A, Candace. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for sharing with us. Wonderful film and you're wonderful people. We're excited.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Take
Okay.
care.
All right.
Bye.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.